Today is Tuesday, September 25th, 2018. Richard Scott here. Gonna do some hive inspections on one of our bee yards, and basically today what I'm doing is looking through the hives, making sure the hive beetle count is low, and if we need to take action, we'll take action. But I use a different process. Not a whole lot of people I know do this, but a couple of beekeeper buddies of mine, and I've seen it on YouTube done, of using Swiffer sheets, the Swiffer cloths, the non-scented cloths, and the beetles will get stuck in this, but it doesn't seem to harm the bees. It's chemical free. It's nothing that will contaminate the honey, anything like that, but it's very safe. And this summer I found it to be pretty effective. So we're going to go in the hives, check them out, and see how the Swiffer sheets are holding up, seeing how they're catching beetles, and making sure we're keeping our numbers down. So I found this is really efficient when it comes to controlling hive beetles using these Swiffer sheets. Now these are the dry, basically the little mop cloths, but make sure you get the unscented. That's very important, but this is what the box looks like. It says dry. You'll see on there where it says unscented. That's important. You don't want to put any smell into your hive. Bees don't seem to like that. But anyway, I use these, and let me show you what they look like on the inside. It's like a cloth. It's like a thick paper towel almost, and there's a lot of little fibers in here. And what happens is the beetles, when they get into this, their little legs get stuck, and they're basically trapped. They can't go anywhere. Well, the bees, if you put these in the corners of your hives, the bees will actually corral the beetles naturally into the corner in the top of the hives. So the beetles will get into these and they're trapped, and usually about once a week you'll want to change this out if you have a lot of hive beetles. There are tons of ways to control hive beetles. Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you got a few hive beetles in the hive, that is very common. I wouldn't panic. It's when you start getting huge numbers, 10, 20, 30 or more hive beetles, really 10 isn't that bad, but when you start getting a lot of beetles in there, that's when you want to do something to control them. All right, just want to show you this. This is pretty cool. You see this pretty often during the summer and early fall. This is washboarding. It's something that bees do. They do this kind of back and forth motion on the face of the hive. And it's really fascinating. It's kind of mesmerizing when they do it. These are just kind of halfway doing a washboarding, but if you can kind of watch them, they go up and down in just the same pattern or routine on the face of a hive. I love watching these bees washboard. I could do this all day, just watch them work back and forth. They say it's some sort of cleaning. I've heard it helps with ventilation. I don't really know why they do this. If one of you, somebody out there knows, has a specific reason, let me know. I'd love to find out. There's a good number of bees in here. It's a packed hive. Show you what they look like. I know it's kind of hard to see today. It's just a little bit darker with some overcast. But all 10 frames are full of bees. And there's the old Swiffer sheets. You see how they kind of chew those away over time? Didn't like that. By the way, I learned learned a little lesson one time before. Make sure you look at the top when you pull this thing off and the queen's not walking around up here. It's rare, but I have seen a queen on top before like that. And what I've got on my hives, I've got a deep box and then a medium super on top of that. And these are all 10 frames, so there's your deep box, medium super on top of that. But yeah, they'll be fine through the winter with 10 frames, medium frames. Plenty of honey for them. I don't touch the super that's above the brood box, above the deep. I leave it for the bees, but anything above that I'll take. And I made these things that go on top here for ventilation. I drilled a 1-inch hole on the front and back of these and put a little piece of screen on there. And this is, you can get these at Lowe's, these boards. They're 1x2s, really easy to make. You just basically make your measurements to where it fits, squares perfectly on top of your hive box. And this sits below the roof line, so these things are pretty cool. So see my hole there? Look at the propolis. Goodness. Good old stickiness. So normally I wouldn't replace a Swiffer sheet because there are no sign of beetles, but just out of demonstration I'll show you what it looks like. So you take your old Swiffer sheets off. They're going to be kind of sticky. Bees tend to eat and propolis it pretty well. And that's what it looks like. I don't see any beetles on that. So that's always a good sign. Looks like this hive is doing pretty good. See one beetle. See if you can see this. Can you see that one beetle right there? See, they get trapped in these fibers and they just can't get out. See, there's one beetle and that's it. So that's a great sign, for early fall, what a hive looks like. I see no beetles up here, so that's a wonderful thing. The bees, they will naturally chase the beetles up to the top corners of these hives. So whenever you pop the top, if you got a hive, you're going to see beetles like right here or right here. And what I'll do is put a Swiffer sheet. It doesn't really matter what direction you put it on. Face up, face down, it doesn't really matter. Put one right there. And we got a little bit of wind, so we'll see how efficient this is. But like I said, this hive does not have any problem with beetles. Normally I would not even put a Swiffer sheet on here, but just to show you how I do it, in case you're curious, this is what I do. Alright, we can put this back on without the wind blowing them away. There we go. That's all it is to it. Just like that. Check out this hive. Think that's full of bees? Good grief. All 10 frames of the super on top. Now again, see, I've got a deep box, a 10 frame deep box, and then I've got a medium super that's 10 frames on top of it. Now the medium super is full of honey. The deep box has brood, honey, pollen, nectar, all that good stuff. Goodness gracious. Let's see how they act. Not too happy. Like I said, it's a cloudy day. I'm gonna be a little angry anyway. Get a little bit of smoke and calm things down. we go.